Hello, 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 everyone. Dr. Rowena Winkler here, and happy total solar eclipse of the heart. And by heart, I mean Aries, which I feel like is a very good analogy for the fiery, passionate, action oriented energy that is Aries. So I don't know about y'all, but this eclipse peaked at 12:13 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So in the late hours, early morning for folks. And I felt wiped, quite honestly. I was feeling very tired, not that great, and being like, oh, woo, it's eclipse season. I had another friend who felt very like fired up in a good way. So starting off, like, let's just take a deep breath, and release that out. Yeah, it's a lot of shit moving with this eclipse. And we're going to be talking about that today, going to give some insights on what this total solar eclipse means and how we can best benefit from the energy that is eclipse season. So I just want to start off by mentioning that I do have an astrology insights email that I send out monthly ish. I say ish because I haven't been as good about it as I have been, but that's okay. A lot going on. If you don't know, I'm currently expecting, I'm pregnant. So a lot going on my end. And so here it is below. I know that it's a weird type of URL, so I will be sure to post that in the notes of the video as well. So if you're interested in signing up for the monthly-ish astrology emails, you will get not only a rundown of what is happening in each month, but also a series of questions to consider. I wonder, maybe it's that I have a bunch of planets in my third house of communication. Maybe it's my, professor hat, but I love writing these prompts for folks to really delve in and consider what these astrological events mean in our orbit, in our lifetimes, in our places that we are in right now. So that is the Astrology Insights newsletter. Again, I know it's a funky URL, so I will post that in the notes on YouTube so that you will have that there. So let's talk about this total solar eclipse. Let's get the skinny, let's get the lowdown on this. Plenty of energy riding on this, homies. So the first thing to keep in mind, the three things that I'm going to chat about today when it comes to this total solar eclipse is number one, we haven't had an eclipse in Aries since 2015. So it's been a hot minute since we've had an eclipse in this particular sign. So, something that's been helpful for myself personally, as well as for folks in my community and friends, is getting a sense of where Aries lies in your chart. Because then, by knowing where Aries is in your chart, you will have a sense of perhaps the area, the house, right? The vibe, the flavor, the what to look into when it comes to this eclipse. So for me, this eclipse is in my fourth house, which is home, family. Makes a lot of sense. I'm in my new home that we purchased last year. I have a human growing inside of me, so very on brand. So yeah, if there's anything I can do to help, let me know. More than happy to pull up your chart and see where that eclipse is for you. So that's numero uno, number one. Number two is that this total solar eclipse is happening close to the north node, excuse me. So we had the north node and south node in Taurus, Scorpio. So what does this mean? The north node in astrology signifies the direction that we may be headed in this lifetime. When we look at the north and south nodes of the moon, we look at, where we're coming from, where we've been, that south node, and moving toward that north node. So, what does this mean in regards to the total solar eclipse? It means that there may be some opportunities, there may be some, you know, all of a sudden, because eclipses move really, really fast, right? It's like warp speed. There may be sudden opportunities that come up that could lead you on your path, right? This could be a long lasting, game changing, transformational moment, milestone moment, evolutionary moment, a higher, maybe you're moving towards something here. So that's really something to keep in mind, that it's very potent in that way. And then the third thing to keep in mind when it comes to this eclipses in general is that with this total solar eclipse, the sun is completely hidden, right? So what does that mean when we think about being, we're in the darkness, things may become revealed that may have been lurking in the shadows a bit, right? Perhaps there are things happening underneath the surface. Perhaps there are things happening in the subconscious. Perhaps there are like things that have been kind of dormant or not in the light that are about to be revealed. And so here is a lesson that we can take away with us with eclipses in general, and this particular eclipse in Aries, right? Because again, Aries is that fast moving fiery energy. But with eclipses, we are not taking action right away. As astrologers, we tell folks that eclipses are not the time to manifest, right? So in a typical new moon, we're like, yeah, set your intentions, manifest the things you want. Nay, nay, no, no, in eclipses. We're not acting on it right away because things are moving at such a warp speed that we need to just sit back and receive and see what happens. We don't have control. There's a lot of shit happening and flying right now. So staying grounded and not getting overwhelmed by it, right? So as I mentioned at the start of this, I was very sleepy and like very lethargic last night around the eclipse time. And so I went to bed, right? I wasn't trying to force it. So don't try to force it, right? So if you have been searching, if you've been having feelings of there's something more, there's a truth that needs to be revealed, there's something that I need to know more about me, something I want to unpack and excavate, now is the time. Things are going to come to the surface. You're going to get that transparency. And it may seem like super fast moving. It may feel very chaotic. But if we're going to do a nice hashtag Rowena reframe, the fact of the matter is what is being revealed in this season, in this time, is exactly what we need. It's exactly what we need to heal, right? If there's some sort of healing that needs to take place, some sort of revelation that needs to take place, we heal and then we can move on, right? Because that's what eclipses help us do. They help us move on to, the next iteration. And as I mentioned, we haven't had an eclipse since 2015. So I'd be curious to hear, right? What has happened in the past almost 10 years, right? I guess not almost 10 years, 8 years that, have been transformative for you. So pay attention, right? Pay attention to everything that's going on. Don't feel like you have to act right away. I know that's like tough with that Aries energy, but hey, good news, friends. We're now in Taurus season, right? The eclipse happened right at the tippy tip end of the moon being in Aries. So now we're in Taurus season, which is just great timing, gorgeous energy, because Taurus energy is that stability. It's that earth, it's that grounding. It's exactly what we need to keep our feet firmly planted on the ground and to increase our awareness and intentionality of how we can feel abundance and gratitude and whatnot, right? In the midst of all the crazy shit that's happening. So it's a potent time, y'all, right? Time for release. And as I mentioned, it's not a time for manifestation. This is a time for chilling, for journaling, for meditating, for reflecting. And you're going to get even more reflecting time because what's today? Thursday? Tomorrow, we have Mercury retrograde happening. So it's going to be this weird push pull, as I mentioned in my newsletter yesterday. There's going to be this tension here of, okay, eclipse season wants us to go, 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 wants to go, but retrograde is forcing us to hang back. And I invite you to consider that and hang back, right? And so something that I think may be very powerful and something that I've started to personally dive into is I started finally, based on recommendation from a friend and a coach, I think this is the right time. The eclipse like motivated me to dive into it is Loving What Is by Byron Katie, right? Doing the work. And what does this mean? It's doing the work and discovering the truth of what is and accepting what is and seeing reality as it is without attachment or judgment. So when it comes to the work, asking yourself the 4 questions that she proposes. Is it true? Can you absolutely know that it's true? And how do you react? And what happens when you first believe that thought? And what would you be, or who would you be, or what would you be without the thought? Right? Because here's the thing, we have this capacity for creation. We can, we have so much that we can receive if we're open to it and if we're not letting things like these thoughts get in the way. As humans, we operate through these perceptual filters when the reality is it's not the truth. So I invite you, and I can also put a link to the worksheet, right? Because I plan to do this work myself. As I mentioned, this eclipse is in my 4th house of home. And for me, it's inviting me to really tap into what home and safety means for me. It's a very Taurus energy too. And how can I tend to my inner child, right? Because I think that's a lot of the work that I'm moving into and have been doing for the past couple of years. But it really is this way of seeking what is truth and how we can embody that in a way that's in alignment, right? Because I'm all for that. That's like my total vibe, is helping us, myself, all of you, all the folks, step into our authentic alignment, step into who we are. I was sharing with my husband last night that I listened to a podcast
We Can Do Hard Things, one of my favorites with Glennon Doyle. And she had an interview or conversation with Cheryl Strait, another one of my favorites. And what I loved is Cheryl said, as we go through our lives, we hit this quarter life crisis in our 20s, right? Around 25, right? Quarter life crisis. I know for some of our friends, they just entered their Saturn returns, right? So, hello and congrats and good luck to that cohort. But in that time, we're asking ourselves, who am I? Right? We're on this journey to discover who we are. We have so much ahead of us in terms of our lives. But when we hit, our 40s and get into that midlife crisis point, Cheryl Strayed says that we start asking, who am I really? And I thought that was so powerful. And I feel like that this eclipse is an opportunity to do that. It's not just scratching the surface with who am I, but who am I really? And getting to that who am I really goes back to doing the work, and it goes back to asking those tough questions. And it goes back to unearthing perhaps the shadowy shit that we don't want to mess with. But once we do, and once we address it and face it head on and learn from it and heal from it and cry from it and deal with it in the ways that are helpful for us, then we can move toward that who am I really, right? So that's the vibe. It's not easy breezy. It's gonna be tough for a lot of us. A lot of us are gonna be like, whoa. And we're here for the next couple of weeks, man. We got, we're in the thick of eclipse season. I do have on my YouTube channel an EFT tapping practice on grounding during eclipse season. That one I think was it was another fire sign, might have been Leo or something like that. So I think it'll be super relevant still. So if you need a way to, tap it out, get that energy out of your nervous system, that's one way to do that. So I'm going to pull a card as always, as I always do. And I thought that what would be good for Aries, and I don't know, this felt very relevant. So we're doing Cosmic Dancer today. Dancer, energy, fire, Aries, and then even Dancer in terms of art and aesthetic. That's also a very Taurus vibe. FYI, if you are a part of the Inner Muse membership, you are open. Open? That's the wrong word. If you're part of the Inner Muse membership, for those folks, I can give you a more personalized reading / take on, what this eclipse means to you and even what the retrograde season means to you. For folks that are not, I invite you to click the link and learn more about it. And or, I can do donation-based readings, and or I have a Mercury retrograde report that is only $20. It's a short and sweet report, but it gives you a sense of, based on your Mercury placement, what this retrograde means to you. Because I know we get a little scared of retrograde, and now we have retrograde and eclipse season. So there's a lot flying around. Okay, let me stop talking so I can pull. Ooh. Oh my gosh. You know what? I'm always so excited because I don't know why I started talking to Southern accent. I'm always so excited because I feel like the card pulls are always so on brand. Honor the process. How gorgeous she. So beautiful. Makes me think my 3-year-old has started doing a dance class. It's like a 7-week dance class through the Parks and Rec in our county here. And she had scars and she was a little butterfly. So maybe I'll put that in my stories or something. Oh, I love that. Okay. Let's see what the message is for us today. So appropriate. Okay. Let's drink some water. Honor the process, y'all. Oh, my ear started ringing. Whatever your inquiry, and what's funny about that is so as I said, I just started reading that book by Byron Katie, and she talks about inquiry, which is like the fact of the matter is the answers you need are already available to you. You have what's already inside you. And I was like, reminds me of my whole Inner Muse concept. Okay. Whatever your inquiry, You will benefit from releasing attachment to the outcome and letting go of the need to impress anyone. Instead, dissolve into the experience of the now. Sacred dance is always about the present moment, which transcends any concept related to the end result or final product. After all, the present moment is the only moment there is. Past and future are only ideas in your mind. So, what is the rush? If you look deeply, you will see that the best part of the journey is always happening right now, for there is no other time for it to happen. As the baby kicks. Hello. When you look back at this era, let's stop this ticker. When you look back at this era in your life after a decade has passed, it will be easy to see that not a second went by that didn't glow with mystery and magic, even the most mundane everyday tasks and chores. So don't miss this preciousness that surrounds and fills you even now. Open your eyes to it, embrace it, and revel in it. When you choose to bring something to life, such as an artistic performance or project, or a human, as in my case, each aspect and each step along the way can be fascinating, fun, and fulfilling. Yay! Whether you're setting your intention, articulating your vision, finding collaborators and creative partners, assembling costumes, practicing, or publicizing, see each activity as a fully realized part of the whole, perfect and complete unto itself. Yummy. Your impulse to create and initiate is like a compass leading you toward your heart's desire. When you undertake this journey, perfectionism can serve as an obstacle. Oh, woof. I know a thing or two about that. I also have a pushing past perfectionism challenge, you know, little plug there, as it will keep you from experiencing the expansion and evolution that your soul so dearly craves. No one learns or grows without mistakes, missteps, and failures. So when you set the standard at perfection, you bar your way forward and miss all the fun. Boo to that. Let your heart lead you on a journey and let go of any intimidating standards you may have set for yourself in the past. Joyfully anticipate the destination while going with the flow and fully inhabiting every portion of the process. Remember that your journey is unique to you. Don't let anyone else define what your process should look like. Embrace your own pace and allow yourself to blossom in your own way. Oh, I love that. You do you, boo. The comparisonitis can be so stifling. Bring this wisdom into embodiment by playing the music you love and walking slowly and luxuriously from one side of the room to the other. That's such a Taurus embodiment right there. Let your hips sway. And I'm on my standing desk today, so I can actually move. So let your hips sway. Feel the air on your skin. Breathe deeply. And soak in the unique magic of each step. And if you feel so inspired, stop at any point and do a yoga pose, a stretch, or a pirouette. It's so funny because I'm standing on my standing desk here, as I'm reading this, I was totally doing tree poses with my legs. You can't see it, but that's so funny. Take your time and dance your way to the finish line. There's no need to sprint or rush. After all, you want to enjoy every twirl, leap, and shimmy along the way. Oh, I love this. This is so fun. So fun. So beautiful. Honoring the process. Yay, hooray. So cool. Wowie kazowie. So yeah, that's the total solar eclipse, man. I mean, yeah, maybe we can dance our way out of this. I'm feeling that's what we might need to do today. But I will post the links that I mentioned as per usual. If you want to send me a DM or send me a message and want to get a personalized reading, a card pool, I love to do it. I love to see it, love to do it for all of you. And yeah, thank you for being here. Send this to any folks that you feel like it may be helpful. If they're like, what is happening right now? I'll be like, well, Dr. Rowena talked about this eclipse. Oh, sorry. And the baby's like, why are you yelling like that? And yeah, if there's anything I can do, I am here for you. I'm going to play some musica. We're going to dance our way out of this groove, moving out of that peak of the eclipse, moving into retrograde, moving into, more eclipse season deliciousness, question mark, deliciousness and lessons to come. So this song is actually called Solar Eclipse by Mike Thomas.